Hey guys, this weekend is a pretty interesting banner weekend. We're getting a lot of things that have never happened before. We're getting Nascent Summons on Divines, which is completely new and has never happened before. We're getting a Pick Your Own Hero banner, which is also completely new and has never happened before. And pretty much something that's never happened before is we pretty much never had a 1+1 as well as a Nascent in the same weekend. There are lots of things to consider here, and obviously the elephant in the room is we are getting Wukong next week. So is this banner weekend even worth summoning for? That's what I'm here to answer today. And yeah, so let's get into it. Make sure to like and subscribe, helps me out a ton. And to start off, the same thing I'll say every single time is on the 2x banners, unless you are very early in your first month or so going for quantity over quality, then it's fine to pull on. But especially right now, I would skip it 10 times out of 10. Number 2 is Wukong is coming out. So for everything I will say today or in this video, you have to save minimum at least 200 summons for Wukong. I know technically with rebate and maybe some freebies and stuff you can get there, but I'm just going to say hard cap yourself at least 200. And if you care about Guilty Guild at all, make sure you either have an unpolished soulstone for the A1 or make sure that you have enough summons to get that A1 if you care at all about that piece of content. Wukong is going to be game breaking, best limited by far, truly broken, and honestly, if you're not saving for him, what are you doing? So outside of that though, something I have to say is the Nascent Divine Summoning. And you might be wondering, why am I skipping past the 1+1, which is going to be a reset, or the Choose Your Own Hero banner? Aren't those kind of the highlights? And while that is true, I would say the Nascent Summoning, you want to pull on first if you can. Obviously, the 1+1 will be done before the Nascent, but if you're planning on pulling on this Lyra Choose Your Own Hero banner, for every single player, I would suggest to pull on the Nascent Divine Summoning before you do that. Because what if the hero you pick, let's say I go and I pick a Comet, because I don't have Comet on my account. If we go to my mages, I do not have Comet. And what if I were to select Comet on the hero selector, 15x banner? And then I could have hypothetically, instead of picking Comet, pulled on the Nascent Divine Summoning, gotten lucky, pulled a hero, and it happens to be Comet, then I'm going to be able to pick another hero I really want, like Twyla, for example. So it is just a very small optimization, but it takes no extra effort. You literally just have to wait one extra day, just in case. And I think for pretty much every player, you should probably be doing that, just because it makes it a lot easier and helps you narrow down your choices a little bit. So that is some big thing I will mention there. Now, the 1+1. 1+1s, I honestly think are super overrated. I don't know if you guys want to see like an opinionated video on like the 1+1s or anything, so I'm not gonna make one right now, but I think they're kind of mid. I mean, you get 2 for the price of 1. So if your pity is at pretty high, then it's definitely an amazing banner to go for. If you're above like 100 into pity here, it's absolutely not a bad banner by any means. More heroes is always a good thing. Worst case, one of them ends up being coins, but in my experience, I like never get anything good from these, and they freaking suck ass. So by going out of my way for them all the time, for videos or just for fun, because it's like, oh, this is the best banner in the game, or the best reoccurring, event or whatever, which is what most people say and swear by. And then I pull them, and they're just complete ass. Like, I'll pull a double Magnus, or I'll pull a Zealous and a Xeris, and like Xeris is cool, but it's just it's not too crazy, you know what I mean? So personally, I would only say if you're above 100 pity, then you can consider it. If you're not, I wouldn't even recommend it, especially with all the good blue banners coming. Speaking of, we got the Lyra and Choose Your Own 15x. I made a video ranking all of the secondary heroes, the ones that you can pick on a tier list. If you would like to check that out to help you narrow down your options, I would recommend it. I'm happy with how that video turned out. But even outside of that, Lyra is a surprisingly good mage. When I saw that she was coming out, I was like, oh, she's cool. She's like a summoner. Infernal Esotericist is interesting, but neither of those factions are really that meta right now. And single target mages are never really that exceptional in my eyes because Hex exists. But when I kind of went into it a bit deeper, looked at other people's content, she kind of surprised me. I mean, she does really good damage. And whilst her use cases are a little bit limited in my eyes, she does have a very interesting kit. She does normal mage range. She summons a meteor to do damage on her ultimate to one enemy. Good single target ability. And it is pretty cheap on the alt cause. She can spawn cosmic rifts, which is really interesting. Dispels buffs from the target. So if you do not have Lucius or Kagiri, she is quite good for something like that, which is really, really exciting. Then we also have, a ton of other kit stuff. I mean, you could read it. I'm not going to evaluate it too much because I have not used her too much because I don't have test server yet. But just know that she's pretty interesting. And I do think she's worth pulling for if you do not care about Monkey Awakenings, aka Wukong Awakenings. If you don't really care about it too much, then that is definitely, this is definitely a good banner to pull on. But if you do want Monkey Awakenings, which is what I'm doing, this is unfortunately a skip. But it really, really depends on where your account is at, what you want from your account, and hero-wise. At the end of the day, you're going to be guaranteed a Wukong copy as long as you save a certain amount for it. And everything beyond that point is completely up to you. Nascent Summoning, I know I covered it earlier, but I would say this is a must pull if you are close to Divine Pity. Divines are guaranteed at 20 pulls. When you've pulled 20 Divines, you're guaranteed a Lego. But outside of that, you could just get lucky before then. I find that Divine Pity's still freaking ass, even if they increased it by 3% off of the previous 2% on every pull after Pity. It's still a little rough. So realistically, you're probably not going to get anything. But Nascent banners are always really good, especially if you're a later game. If you're like super new, you can completely ignore it and just summon on the 2x banner in my eyes for Divines. But if you have a lot of heroes, you're definitely going to want the Nascent Divine Summoning. Or if you're missing anything really important that you cannot get on that Choose Your Own 15x banner. So just keep those sort of things in mind. But personally, what I will say is number one, Wukong is coming. You must pull for Wukong. I do not care who you are. I don't care if you are mad that they're bringing a god into the game, because I saw a lot of people who were like mad because they were like, oh, he's too strong, he would body the entire cast. And it's like, it's just a game, really. Even if you think that way, you have to pull for Wukong. Like, please, I'm begging you guys, you have to pull for Wukong. He's gonna be one of the best heroes in the game, undoubtedly. I mean, I've seen him be tested and stuff. He is criminal. I don't even know what they were thinking with him. And although he doesn't hit air, which is his main loss, he's incredibly strong, and you have to pull for him. And his A3 and his A5 and his A1 are busted. His A5 is more than double the damage. It's ridiculous. So I would say that is number one. And then number two is going to be the Nascent Divine Summoning. They are different resources, so you still want to pull on both of them in my eyes. And then I would say the Lyra Choose Your Own is, a step below that. I'm not even sure if I'm going to pull on this. I really want Twyla, but I really want A5 Wukong. So I don't know what I'm going to do yet. This is a mess. And then the 1+1 is always, a decent banner if you're close to Pity, but it really depends on what you were planning on getting this, weekend and even next weekend. And keep in mind, like, we're going to get Xeris Spectrum banner at some point, and there's quite a bit coming. So that's kind of all the information that you guys will need to make a kind of educated decision. Obviously, this is not like the most definitive answer, but these things are never definitive, except for a couple things like save your summons for Wukong at least a little. Okay, that's kind of all I wanted to cover. Let me know what you guys are thinking about pulling for in the comments. This time I'm especially interested because I don't even know what I'm gonna pull on yet. I'm really torn on a lot of things. Because if I wait for Wukong, I'm gonna miss the special Lyra summoning banner. So it's like, do I risk pulling on it now and then not having enough to get Awakenings on Wukong? You know, this is the type of thing where I would love to just see in the future and see what the best route is. Because I could pull for Twyla, Lyra, and get really lucky on that, and then only pull one Wukong coffee and not be able to A5 him with soul stones, and it'll just be a mess. So I'm gonna have to kind of see where my priorities are at, see what I want to do, and go from there. But I mean, it's a hard decision, and I wish you guys the best in figuring that out. That's everything that I wanted to cover. Thank you guys for watching, and that's it for me. Destined signing out.